All right, music nerds, what's up? Good to see everybody. This is the Drop at Home edition. My colleague, my partner, my good friend, Quinn Bishop is enjoying himself on a little vacay with the fam, and I believe he is in a more temperate climate where he's at right now, hanging out. So this is what we're going to do today. We're talking about some vinyl, of course, but we're going back. We're going to do some 70s and 80s. I think I got a 60s in here. I may have a 90s in here. We're all over the place, but this is stuff that I like and that's just in my collection, you know. And I don't have one of those alphabetized, sectioned off. I wish I was that organized. I don't. So everything is just kind of mixed in with each other. So if you're OCD, flipping through my record collection would drive you bonkers. If you're watching on Facebook and you got a comment, hit me up. We'll try to answer questions. Mike Henry, happy Friday Eve to you, my friend. What's up? What's up? What's up? Alice, hello, friend. Hello, friend, back to you. So yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's dig in. All right, so this album is very inspirational to a lot of people, and it's a go-to of the disco era. The band is Chic, and you know, a lot has been written over the years about Chic. Now Rogers, obviously guitarist, producer, as well as Bernard Edwards, who combined to produce on this album. So yeah, it was part of the disco era, but the deal is that a lot of what disco was, we still hear today, you know, and in different forms, right? Very big influence on club music, dance, you know, hip hop, whatever you want to call it. And of course, Nile Rodgers' guitar, for all of my guitar playing buddies out there, you know the drill, man. You know, from his work with, you know, Let's Dance, David Bowie, we all know that one. You know, his solo work, his producing work. Nile Rodgers has got his fingerprints on a lot of things over the last 40 years or so. But this is a cool album. Put it on at a party. Everybody's going to dance, or it's going to be nostalgic for some people. It might be new to some people. Who knows? You know, we all know Bruno Mars and has taken inspiration liberally. Let's call it. From Nile and his work and Chic. And also, you know, when he was working with Anderson .Paak. All right, yeah, just let's move on. So anyway, good record. If you've never heard it, it's fun. Vocals are amazing, production's amazing, everything's amazing on that. And I told you I was going to jump around a little bit. So this next album is people get weird when you talk about the Beatles. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody, you know. Yes. So I'm just going to go. So this is my favorite album by the Beatles. So Let It Be, because I got it for Christmas when I was 10 years old, and I got a little record player. I got 3 albums. I got Dark Side of the Moon. I got this one, and I got Led Zeppelin. You know, Led Zeppelin 4, the Stairway to Heaven album, and it never occurred to me that there was other Beatles music. And maybe I heard it on the radio when I was in the car with my dad or whatever, but it did not click that there, you know, for 10-year-old me, the entire Beatles universe was this album for a very long time. And, you know, obviously as I got older, I heard, you know, Rubber Soul, White Album, you know, on and on and on and on. But still, I can put this one on, and it's just like a piece of my childhood that resonates with me. I love this album so much. It's got 2 of Us on there. Side 1, 2 of Us. I Dig a Pony, Across the Universe, great song. I Me Mine, Dig It, Let It Beat, of course, Maggie May. Side 2, I've Got a Feeling, One After 909, The Long and Winding Road, For You, Blue, and Get Back. Yes, there are Beatles albums with probably better track listings, but man, God. And if you saw the Beatles, if you saw the Beatles documentary, for me, it was incredible watching these pictures that I've looked and stared at for, hours on end come to life. It was pretty. I had to keep stopping that documentary every 10 minutes and just letting it sink in, because so much of the creative process was on display, and how they wrote these songs, and how these riffs turned into things. And it's just amazing, just crazy stuff. All right, so there you go. That's a super favorite of mine. I guess I am trying to go in some kind of order. All right, backing up for a second. So we talked about Chic, right? Bee Gees, greatest hits. Obviously, if you weren't aware of them and you're, in your 50s like I am, once Saturday Night Fever came out, it was all about the Bee Gees, all about that soundtrack, and everything from Jive Talking to Night Fever to some of their early stuff can be found here. And I think this is 2 CDs. Yeah, I think it's 2 CDs. A great little package. I actually bought this for my wife. She likes the Bee Gees. Does she love them? I think she loves them. Maybe I bought it for my wife with the intention of me listening to it, but it's still in the wrapper. The little cellophane. We haven't taken that out. So, but mainly because her new car does not have a CD player. It's hard to find CD players. My old car has a CD player. It doesn't really work very often, and sometimes the CDs get stuck in there. So anyway, Bee Gees, incredible vocal harmonies. The brothers Gibb, that's why it's called the Bee Gees. Some pretty incredible stuff. So again, you got questions, you got favorites, put them in the comments. I need to drink water because I'm going to talk a lot. All right, so moving right along, this album is just a banger. I love everything about this album. It was one of the albums that made me want to be in a band and wanted to play guitar and be a musician and stuff like that. And yeah, I was not talented enough to do so. But this is Cheap Trick live at Budokan. And you have, of course, Robin and Tom on the front. And then on the back, you've got Rick and Bunny Carlos. Yeah, another one. And it's, you can open it up. It's another one of those. It's got a booklet inside, too. It's another one of those that I just looked at forever and ever and sat in front of my little record player and played it over and over and over and over and over again. I had the great pleasure of meeting Mr. Tom Peterson. Cheap Trick did a show at the House of Blues. This would have been before COVID. And a friend of mine's worked with Tom, Stacia Pratt, shout out to Stacia, has worked with Tom over the years on different projects. And she hooked up the interview. And, just incredibly gracious, funny. And we talked for a long time. And we talked about a whole bunch of different stuff. But of course, I asked him about Budokan. That's probably the question Cheap Trick gets asked about the most. Either what was it like? Did they have any idea going in what was waiting for them? And he didn't. He said the album, the album was out. The album that they were touring was out, and they knew that they were going to record a live album, but they were not expecting the fans to be as crazy about them. And he said that just the welcome and the reaction from the fans and the love and the just manic fandom was a little overwhelming. They were not prepared for it, but of course this has become I think it's kind of like their signature moment album, I guess, live at Budokan. But I'm not 100% sure, and I hope I'm not just making that up. But again, I mean, all the songs on here are fantastic. Hello There, Surrender. Yeah, I can't read this. It's too small. Ain't That a Shame? The Fats Domino cover, amazing. That's just fantastic. Anyway, so yeah, I can put that record on anytime. And it is going to be a house party, hands down, get out of the way, you know, whatever. All right, this is a cool one. And when I was in junior high, this band came and played, and all of my friends went. And the next day at school, when everybody was wearing their concert shirts, I kind of felt like I was the only person that didn't go. I was aware of them. I liked a song or two, but it's not like I love them now. Such an incredible band, ELO. This is a new world record. And for my producer, April, if she's watching, see how it says news up there? There was a bunch of albums in our old office, in one of the old offices. I think this came over from our old building. But we had a collection of albums that I guess they used to pull the music off of here and use it in segments. I have no idea how that worked, but I have a couple of the, I salvaged some of the ones I liked because they'd just been in a box for 10 years. And I didn't own this, and even though I loved it. Of course, ELO is the brainchild of, you know, just Jeff Lynne, who is such a savant producer, songwriter, player, and Beatles fanatic. I was amazed years later how when I started listening to more Beatles, I started hearing, and you guys I'm sure have done this too, you start realizing more Beatles influences and even little hooks and little parts that, you know, came from Beatles songs. You know, and the Beatles songs, the Beatles got there early, man, and they pretty much got to all the good licks first. So yeah, so anyway, ELO, new world record, Electric Light Orchestra. If you don't have this one, get it, put it on, you're gonna love it. Let's see if I have anything else that's 70s. Yes, I do. A lot of people don't count greatest hits records, but I do, because a lot of times I don't have time to just, as you get older, to absorb entire albums. And I was taking a guitar lesson, and I was really young, but I was taking a guitar lesson at H&H Music, which used to be in the mall, from a guy by the name of Matt Hilbin. I think that's right. Cool dude. Had the long kind of 70s, you know, dirty blonde hair. Had an Explorer, which I coveted. But anyway, first day we got together, you know, he showed me like a scale. We talked and what I like and what I wanted to do and what kind of guitar player I wanted to be or whatever. And he goes, look, man, go out and buy ZZ Top's greatest hits. Then I want you to go to the last song on side 2, which is called Heard It on the X. He goes, learn that solo and you can be a guitar player. So if you guys are aware of ZZ and maybe you play a little guitar, of course you're aware of ZZ. Who the hell isn't aware of ZZ Top? The great Reverend Billy Gibbons. The solo, I think, is one note. It might be 2 notes. It's bendy and it's really like, and I don't even know, it might be a slide. I haven't heard it in so long, but yeah, basically. But what Matt was trying to convey is that just in that 1 or 2 notes, he squeezes the last ever loving drop of emotion out of it and just makes it nasty and greasy. And that's why nobody really sounds like Billy Gibbons, because he's, you know, he's Billy Gibbons. And yeah, one of Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitar players. Look it up. It's true. All right, 70s, digging. Oh, here we go. Another one of my favorites. Back when in the day you could get these posters that was almost the entire, in the 70s, that were almost the entire side. I mean, they had to be 4 feet by God only knows what, but it was a concert photograph of Elton John in this silver, feathery Las Vegas showgirl type thing with these huge, enormous glasses. And he's sitting at the piano and he's doing that. And I was a huge Elton John fan. I wanted to play piano, but like my mom said, we can't afford a piano. And where would we put it in this little apartment in New York City? So anyway, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, an amazing album. My favorite album is Captain Fantastic, but this is probably my second favorite album. You know, Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding, Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets. That's side one. It's a double album. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road on side two. Side three, God. Oh, the Ballad of Danny Bailey, great song. Side four, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Man, that's a monster. It's so good. And of course, it features the classic Elton John lineup. Davy Johnstone on guitar, Nigel Olsson on drums, Dee Murray on bass, and the great lyricist and partner in crime that Elton had almost with him at all times, Mr. Bernie Taupin, who wrote such incredible lyrics. Funny thing that I always thought was funny when I started like trying to write songs and figuring out how other people wrote songs and paying more attention to artists that did that, whatever I could read in magazines like Rolling Stone, or, you know, back in the day you had Cream and Hit Parader and all that. When they talked about writing songs, you know, most of the time bands in the old days would be in a room together and they would just, hey, I got a little riff. Okay, I'm going to play these couple of chords. Drummer gets in there, bass player jumps in, keyboard player plays a little thing, whatever. And then the singer gets up on the mic and maybe he freestyles something or gets a little notepad out and writes some lyrics and put the lyrics on. The Elton, I remember very early on reading an interview, and he was talking about how the process worked with him and Bernie. So Bernie would give him lyrics and say, here you go. And Elton would look at the lyrics and then come up with the music, which is kind of backwards. I mean, obviously other people do it like that, but the majority of people write the other way. But whatever, it worked, and just mega platinum selling album after mega. God only knows how many albums Elton John sold. You know, who knows? And I think the farewell tour is actually finally coming to an end. All right, let's see here. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit punky now. This is not this band's best album in many people's eyes. A lot of people hated this album. A lot of people are, you know, they're the super serious fans of this group. You know, prefer the first two albums or the first album or whatever. You know, this was considered maybe a sellout record because it had I think it had two pretty huge hits on it. Anyway, Clash, Combat Rock. It's a really interesting album. It's very well done. It features a lot of the Clash's different influences and even kind of experimental side. But it's just, I love it. I just think it's great. So the track listing, so you guys know, is number one is Know Your Rights. Great song. Lyrically, it's amazing. Car Jamming, great groove. Should I Stay or Should I Go? I don't have to explain that to you. Rock the Casbah. I don't have to explain that one to you either. Red Angel, Dragnet, and my favorite all-time Clash song, and I can hear people coming after me already or wishing a painful death on me, is number 6, is Straight to Hell. Lyrically, I think it's one of the greatest things Strummer ever did. It just touched me, connected with me. I can read those lyrics. I can hear the music. I can play the song. And there's all this imagery that just rises to the top because it's such, he's such a storyteller, and he can just make these images and feelings and things just manifest, at least for me. It's incredible. So side 2 is Overpowered by Funk, Adam Tan, Sean Flynn, Ghetto Defendant, Inoculated City, and Death is a Star. So obviously side 1 packs the punch, but there's a lot of grooviness on side 2. So if you're like burned out, because some songs you've just heard too many times, just skip Should I Stay or Should I Go and rock the Casbah and check everything else out. And I think you might be pleasantly surprised. All right, so I think I've talked about this on. I've talked about this before. Oh, straight. Look at this. Come on. Look how good my producer is, huh? You got a little something there. Yeah. April, you're a peach. You're a keeper. You know that? Elton John, 300 million record people. Taylor Swift's only sold 114 million so far, but she's only been at it for like 15 years. I don't know what's going on. All right, so this album, bam, B-52s. It's a banger. This made me, so until I heard this record, I was trying to play guitar, like I was trying to play like, you know, Van Halen was out and stuff like that. And I couldn't make any sense of what that was. I had trouble even learning the most simple rock licks, because even though I wanted to play the guitar, I didn't understand, or I didn't have good enough ears to translate what the greats of the time were doing. So when I heard this record, which made me kind of go away from listening to traditional rock, and what is this? Is it punk? Is it new wave? What is it? But, you know, start finding whatever I could to read about the band and stuff. And these were not trained musicians. They got together because they wanted to dress up and throw parties. And they adopted this 60s kind of vibey thing, and just kind of created the music after the fact. But it works. It's amazing. So side one, Planet Claire, 52 Girls, Dance This Mess Around, and Rock Lobster, of course. Lava on side two. There's a Moon in the Sky called The Moon. Hero Worship, 6060842, and a cover of the Petula Clark classic Downtown. This album made me start a band, and every band since then probably was influenced. At least this was the shove. I can't say that. I mean, I was in some okay bands. We thought we were pretty good. I don't think the audience did, though, you know. Anyway, there you go. That's a thing. All right, here we go. Another album that hardcore fans of this band. Oh, look at that. I never knew that. Look at this. Come on, man. Stuff's just flying at you. The information that you're getting for free here. I mean, where else are you going to get that? Nowhere. Oh, man, that's funny. I love that. All right, here we go. So coming up, a band that the people that love this band, again, they love the early records. This had kind of a hit on it, so I think people thought, selling out. Replacements, Pleased to Meet Me. Paul Westerberg is one of those songwriters that if you don't know about him, you need to know about him. He is a disciple of Big Star and Alex Chilton. And it's not quite punk. It's not quite Americana. It is punky. It's just good rock and roll, man. And it's good rock and roll at a house party when you're in high school and you're drinking something, you know, trash can punch or something, and you're like, what is it? It's so amazing. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a good album. Get that one. All right, cruising. Well, we did the Clash. Okay, this will be right around in the same vein. So this is Document by REM, a band that I loved the EP, the first album, the second album. By the time that they got here, I wasn't listening to them that much, but I can go back and listen to this album now, and I can appreciate it. But I was working for a concert company. They were touring on Green. The REM album was Green. So we were at the Summit. which later became the Compaq Center. It is currently Lakewood Church. So we're there for the sound check because I was working for the production company, but I had honestly nothing to do. So I sat, the lights are on, the band comes out, and I watched them sound check. And after the sound check, we went backstage. A gal that I worked with had briefly dated the guitar player Peter Buck. Another friend of mine, also working for the production company, brought a couple of albums to have the band sign. Michael Stipe does not sign anything. He's kind of, that was a thing for him. But my friend, again, she had dated Peter. They were very cordial, and Peter was happy to see her. He had Michael sign, but that's all he signed, Stipe. And but the whole band's on here. So this is actually not my album. This belongs to my friend Richard, but I don't think I'm gonna. If you're watching this, and I don't think you are, I'm happy being the custodian of this album, and it's in perfect shape. I take very good care of it, and please don't take it away from me, because sometimes I just take it out at a party and go, look at this, because I'm an idiot. Great album, their first album. Mick Jones, who had been in the Clash until they dissolved, decided to do his thing with Don Letts, producer and, I don't know, influencer with the Clash. This is Big Audio Dynamite, which is a very strange album. It's very dancey, electronic, samply, the two tracks Medicine Show, E equals MC square. It had Mick Jones produced it. It had some Jamaican kind of dub elements to it, but it also had this weird spaghetti Western influence. In fact, there's a lot of the audio from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in Medicine Show that's sampled in. It's a weird album. I love this album. The second album was okay. This was a moment in time, I think. I really dig it. Went to see them live, and I remember they played this club theater thing in downtown Houston, and they went on like almost 3 hours late. But I stayed there no matter what, because I was going to see them, and they were pretty good. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close to the end here, guys. We're getting close to the end, so I want to wrap. Okay, so this definitely is very punky, very hardcore. Aaron Schlottman, hiya, Ruben, hiya to you. This is Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye. The great HR and vocal, Dr. No on guitar, Daryl Jennifer on bass, Earl on drums. It just rocks. This is another band that the very first album for a lot of fans is the album, and maybe the second album. But by the time they got to this one, which is either third or fourth, people were like, nope, sold out. We like the early stuff. But it's an amazing, amazing album. And if I remember correctly, oh God, who produced this? Ron St. Germain, who was the hot rock kind of producer at the time, back in the day. So yeah, that's a good one. Get that one. All right, jumping back here, since it's the 50th anniversary, since it's a 50th anniversary of hip hop, we're celebrating this year.